Well, once again, it's Sunday evening, and I'd like to do this week's talk about, as usual, where we've been and where we're going and what you can look forward to this week. So last week we had some interesting discussions. We had we had a little interruption with the planned downtime from Blackboard, and I hope everything came back for all you guys okay. For me, it didn't. I actually had to wait an extra day to get back into the course, and it's thrown my schedule off a little bit. So I apologize to just a few of you that last week's discussion board isn't fully graded yet, and I will get to it and get to it promptly, certainly no later than tomorrow. So most of you have a grade already, but if you don't, rest assured it's coming right away because I really don't think it's fair to make people wait. Okay, this week actually have some good news for you about discussion boards. This week you'll notice we don't have one, and that's because it's week 5, and traditionally in week 5 what I've done is place what I won't call a midterm exam. It's a midterm exercise, for lack of a better term. And what we want to do here is take advantage of many of the things we've talked about. Last week we were talking about competitive balance. And in the readings and resources this week, you're going to see a lot of material about what's a franchise worth to a community, to an area, to a municipality, to a state, whatever. We've looked at profitability of teams as businesses. We've looked at teams of business as businesses. We've looked at, as I said, the idea of competitive balance. We've asked whether a team should put making a profit way ahead of winning, or does winning drive making a profit, all these kinds of questions. So as sort of a little review exercise, what I put together for the midterm is a situation that we can look at live right now. And actually, it's kind of appropriate. I'm wearing a green sweater to ask this question, but my favorite pro basketball team, and has been since I was long enough ago to know what pro basketball is all about. And I'm telling you, this goes way back because I am a Boston Celtic fan, and I go back to all the way back to Bill Russell and Sam Jones and K.C. Jones and John Havlicek. That's how far back I go with the Boston Celtics, and sometimes I used to tell people at this time of year I started to bleed Celtic green. Well, the Celtics are in an interesting position right now, and it's one that, even though the midterm case was not written about them, they are in exactly the position of the team, the fictitious team that I put in the midterm case. And they are in that precarious spot. There's, I believe, 9 games left in their season. They're a half game out of the playoffs. And the question becomes, what do they do? Do they push to make the playoffs? Or do they throw in the towel and hope to get lucky in that draft lottery and build for the future? Because as you can see, if you follow the Celtics at all, they're a great example. They've pretty much made the decision to build for the future, and have done it in a lot of ways over the last couple years. Everybody knew they weren't going to be very good this year. Yet here they are, they find themselves in that last week trying to figure out, do we really, really, really push and get that 8th playoff spot? Or do we sit back, let it fall where we may? Or do we really tank and hope we get the best out of the potential draft pick? Now, remember what we've learned about the NBA draft and all the other ways about getting the competitive balance back in line, right? The NBA draft is a reverse order draft, but it's not pure because of the lottery factor. So, all that reality sets up the case, which is sort of fictitious, but I've given you the chance to be the advisor to the owner of a team, and this fictitious team is in exactly the position that the 2015 Celtics are in. What are you going to tell, if you're the owner and you think about what you want to do and where you're going to get the most economic impact and the most value out of your franchise? Well then, what are you going to tell your coach? go all out and try to grab that last spot, or cash it in now, mail it in, let's see if we can't get that high draft pick. Now, the way I want you to put your answer together is very simply to be looking at it in business and economic terms. What's the best for the franchise in building value, gaining profitability, doing the right thing for the business? So I think the instructions are pretty clear. We talk about it as being a 2 to 3 page essay, and I hesitate to give out a page length. It's just that I feel that if you do it in any less than that, you're not really trying. You won't have put a lot of thought into it. If you do it in too much more than that, then we're just filling things up with fluff and puffery that doesn't need to be there. So try to be concise, but try to be factual, and try to stick to economic reasoning, business reasoning. What is your choice, and why are you recommending that course of action? That's what we want to know. And I've just walked through a whole bunch of the factors that you need to consider. That's where I want you to keep going with this, okay? So think about those things. Think about competitive balance. Think about building value. Think about profitability. Think about your relationship to the rest of the league. Think about your market. Think about the value that you have to your community. All those different things, and then attempt to answer this question, okay? So that's the midterm exam this week. That's why there won't be a discussion board, because I really want you to concentrate on this assignment. Please don't try to do the assignment without looking at all the material in Unit 5. It will really help you get a grasp of the whole concept. So don't just say, oh, I can try to answer this question and blow off reading all the stuff for the unit. That would be a mistake, and believe me, it'll show up in the quality of your answer. Okay? So thanks again for your patience with the Blackboard change this week and all the other things that have gone on. I think people are, I'm getting messages from people that they are getting things out of this course. They are learning about the economic workings. They are learning more about sport, and that's what we intended. Okay? Good luck with this assignment. If you have any questions, contact me. As I've often said, email's the best way to do it, and I'm really looking forward to your answers, because actually an NBA owner has seen this question. Wasn't planned that way, but it happened with a student who did it a couple years ago, and actually happened to have the chance to upgrade his flight on a cross-country flight and sit in first class. Lucky guy. And sat next to the owner of an NBA team. And he was smart enough to start talking to him about the business of sports. The young man was a sport economics major, a sport management major, and he talked to him. And frankly, the NBA owner told him this was an excellent question, and it was a dilemma that people faced all the time. And if I can remember to do so, I'll try to give you next week who the owner was and what his response to our question was. Okay? So good luck. Contact me with any questions, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.